I get a lot of people asking me how we were blessed to walk away from corporate America in our early 30s. Well, listen, I don't want to keep that a secret. I want to share it with the world. And so maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to figure out how do I even get started on my journey of entrepreneurship and getting to a level of freedom. Well, text the word freedom to 737 777 9909. Enter your information in, and we look forward to sharing some information with you. A proven system with small overhead, right? That you can do part-time, spare time, right from the comfort of your home, and have amazing mentors, coaches, and a community of entrepreneurs who are willing to support you and help you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt like there's got to be more than life than the reality that you see every day? Tune in weekly, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as we crack the codes to freedom in every area of your life. Welcome to Code Freedom. This is your host, Eddie Bales, and this is episode 180. And I'm really excited about this episode because this is just one more step in the right direction toward your freedom. And our definition of freedom is being able to do what the Father has called you to do without having to ask a boss or a bank account. And I believe that there's so much in store for us, so much for us to do. But so often, we are sometimes held down, shackled by the 8 hours we're at the job, the 10 or 12 hours we're at the job, or the income that they're paying us that's not allowing us to do the other things that we're really wanting and supposed to do, right? Our purpose, right? Now, don't get me wrong, some people, their job is their purpose, and there's nothing wrong with that. But even if your job is your purpose, we still believe that you shouldn't have to be limited to just that income, but you should have several different streams of income so that you can do more and bring more value to society, bring more value to um, all that you have, all that you're called to do. You know, and so this episode is going to be a special one because we're going to talk about building a brand. Now, I'm not an expert as it comes to that, but I've had lots of practice in that area over the years, and I just want to share something with you. I was watching The Last Dance by, with Michael Jordan, and obviously Nike is a big part of his brand, and it is his brand. And by the way, let me say this: you are a brand. Let me just let you know that you're a brand, whether you know it or not, whether you think you are or not, whether you're out there on social media or you don't have to have a logo to be a brand. You are a brand. If someone said your name to me, immediately, if I knew you, I would have some thoughts about who you are, what you represent, what you stand for. That is your brand, right? It's like, what do you want to be known for? How do you want people to see you? Does that make sense? And so that is a big part of your brand. Of course, your brand can expand and it can be so many different things, but from a grassroots level, you are a brand. It's how people know you. It's how people see you. I think it's so fascinating that um that I can hold cue cards of certain logos up to a child and I could say, "What's this?" and they could tell me and they wouldn't even have to think about it. They would know the Golden Arches is McDonald's. They would know, certain things because they see it so often. That is part of building a brand. So that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today. But back to what I was saying, I was watching The Last Dance not too long ago. I try to watch it often because it just inspires me. It gets me motivated. Right, watching what I believe to be the greatest of all time, the GOAT, Michael Jordan, right? I don't care what nobody else says, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But you know, I thought it was interesting and fascinating that when he was in the Olympics, he had a jersey, an Olympics jersey, and it had Reebok on it. And it just boiled his skin, right? Because like, he's the Nike guy, not Reebok. Like, I can't even be associated with Reebok. And so what happened was when they won their gold medal and they were going up to to the big steps that you stand on and you hold your trophy up and things like that. Well, he draped the U.S. flag over his jersey, covering up the Reebok sign because he just would not be seen with Reebok because he's Nike. Did that make sense? And I just thought that was profound because that just shows you how serious and how powerful a brand really is, and the extent that someone would go to make sure that their brand is always upkept. So that's really lesson number one is, if you're posting on social media, and it's not even just social media, it's anytime you show up, you're representing a brand. You're representing your last name. You're representing who you are, what you represent, and how you want people to know you, right? So you automatically are a brand. I like this line that Jay Z has in one of his songs. He says, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man." Right? Like you are a walking business, whether you think so or not. Whether now you get to determine how profitable your business is, but you are a brand, and so I just think it's important to know that. So you're always representing yourself. But a couple of things that I would say that I'm learning and that I've learned. Number one is consistency. Consistency rules the game all day long, hands down, right? The only reason a child can look at certain logos and say, hey, that's this and that's that and that's this and this is that, is because of consistency, because they see these brands thrown in their face on a regular basis. The commercials, the jingles, right? I mean, we start singing a song, we start tap dancing to it, we start like moving to it because they understand how to get us hooked. They understand how to get brands in front of us and keep them in front of us. So for your brand, right? As you're building your brand, you want to make sure you stay in front of your audience. How do you do that? Show up. Just show up on a regular basis. Show up on social media, whether it's a post, a quote, something vulnerable that happened to you, a story, a scripture, pictures, videos, reels, all those things, TikToks, however you want to do it, right? But just understand that you want to show up on a regular basis consistently. It's key that you show up consistently because otherwise you're not giving people an opportunity to know who you are and to like sometimes people just need to see it and hear it over and over and over before they say hey, because sometimes something just clicks with people, right? Like they see it, and then that one day they see it, they want to take action on potentially partnering or working with you or whatever, right? Connecting with you because something happened that led them to see something that you did and it aligns with what they need, and now they want to reach out to you. Does that make sense? So consistency is so important. Now I also learned that frequency is important too, right? And consistency is different than frequency. Frequency is how often. It's not just showing up every day. And hey, depending on what your goals are, you don't have to show up every day, but I suggest you do, but you don't have to. But it just depends on where you are and what you're shooting for, what your goals are, right? But every day is the consistency, or how often is the consistency. No, I don't want to say how often because how consistent I should say is the first thing, but then how often you're doing. So, for instance, let's just say you say, I'm going to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to do something on social media Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, you do that and you never stop that. Like, no matter what, you just stick with that. But then, what if you post it two times on Monday, Wednesday, Friday versus one time? Now you just went from what, three posts to six posts, right? And if you looked at that over a month, right, now you got 24 posts. You have 24 opportunities for your brand, who you are, what you represent, to be in front of your audience. Right? What if you said two or three times a day? What if you said every day I'm going to do something? Now, don't get me wrong. I know we all have lives and we have different things that we're doing. Listen, At some point, you're gonna want to outsource a lot of this stuff. But my point is, starting out, just having the mindset that you are a brand. And if you're trying to build something, you want to make sure you showcase that brand. You want to make sure people see the brand. They get to see it consistently and they get to see it often, consistently and often. Those two things I think is like the one two punch to uh, really expanding and building on a solid brand. Now, there's so many other different things that I can share, and some of that stuff I'll share privately. Just because I actually coach people on these types of things. So if you ever want some coaching on some of this, I'm happy to help. But I do want to say those two things, consistency and frequency, are very, very, very important. And just understanding that you are a brand. So you just want to show up often, and be mindful of how you show up in every situation, in every scenario, right? My wife and I, we had bought a professional camera, and I don't know how to shoot pictures. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know how to shoot professional pictures, so I had to study that, and I had to watch all these YouTube videos and figure it out and learn. And I'm still not the greatest at taking pictures, but I know a whole lot more now than I did before, and so I understand that there's a certain quality that you can have when it comes to your brand. And so, again, how do you want to be known? Who do you want to be known by? A couple questions you could ask yourself and even ask some friends really to kind of get you started is, how do you see me? Right? What are three things you think about when you see me? And you can ask a few people that and start compiling a list and say, okay, this is how people see me, right? And you'll be surprised because sometimes they may see you differently than how you see yourself, right? So again, just start going to maybe 3 to 5 people, and close people, of course, and say, hey, look, I want you to tell me, what do you think of me? What are three things you think about when you think of me, right? It could be 3 words or whatever, but just 3 things that you think about. And again, once you start compiling that list, now you can start to, narrow it down and say, okay, this is how people see me, but this is how I want them to see me. So this is what I need to change. Or you might already be on the right track, and that's amazing as well. But the key is to take inventory and find out where you are on your journey with your brand, understanding you are a brand, know where you are on the journey, and then where you trying to get to, where you trying to go, what are you trying to do, what is your vision, right? The Bible says, without vision, people perish, right? Like, where do you want to, where do you see yourself? Those things are important. It's just, but the key is taking action. In everything, you must take action and you must take massive action. It's not enough just to take action. You want to take massive action so that people know your name. People, you can become a mini celebrity in today's society so easy because, it's funny to me because I'll be in Target or I'll be in certain stores and just out and about, and people say, "Hey, I've been watching your videos." I'm like, "Oh, you have?" Because I mean, these people obviously didn't like or comment, so I didn't know that they were watching it, right? But they're watching it, and I get that a lot from a lot of people from all over in different walks of life. And so I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying that this is what starts to happen once you start putting yourself out there. You start identifying how you want you like who your audience is, what your audience is. You got to have a target market, a target audience. There's this saying, he that thinks he talks to everyone talks to no one. So you want to have who you're talking to. Who are you targeting? Don't get me wrong, everybody can buy from you, but there's a certain group that resonates with you and that you specifically want to speak to. Maybe you're a single mom and you want to speak to single moms. Maybe you're like me and you want to talk to some of the fellas, right? And by the way, like I said, I may be talking to the fellas, right? But that certainly doesn't mean that no one else can partner up with me. No one else can be a part of what we're doing, right? So just understand some of those things and really start to write them down, start to organize them, start to put some things in place and really sets yourself up for success as it relates to your brand. And so I'm excited because I believe maybe you might have learned something today that can really shift your trajectory and put yourself in a position where you can be closer to freedom than ever before. And why? Let me end with this. Why is having a brand important for Code Freedom? Well, because in order to be free, you have to be able to build something. And in order to build something, people can't buy from you if they don't know you. So you have to, um, even if it's not necessarily buying, it's supporting you. If they can't get behind your mission or what you're looking to accomplish, what you stand for, if they don't even know who you are. So you have to build a brand, and you want these are just some strategies and some ideas that I'm sharing that have helped and worked for me to be able to do that. So listen, I appreciate you all listening for episode 180 of the Code Freedom Podcast. This is your host, Eddie Bales, and we are signing out. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for listening. Definitely feel free to take a screenshot of this episode, tag me in it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find me on social media. I would love to give you a shout out. Hey, you might even get a prize. Who knows? But excited that you had a chance to take a listen. I hope you got a lot of value. And definitely feel free to give us 5 stars as well as a review. Show us some love, and we appreciate you. God bless you all, and see you all over the top.